President Donald Trump stunned the world when he proposed taking over the Gaza Strip to help it rebuild. So what will the future of the Middle East look like? I'm Veronica Dudo. Let's find out.
This is In America Today from the Ticker News Studios in New York City.
President Donald Trump made a stunning announcement during a joint press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, declaring that the United States will take over the Gaza Strip. Trump outlined plans to level the area, dismantle unexploded bombs, and rebuild Gaza with new economic development, housing, and jobs, aiming to bring long-term stability to the region. Netanyahu praised Trump's bold, unconventional approach, saying it could help achieve lasting peace and security for Israel.
I'm honored that you invited me to be the first foreign leader to visit the White House in your second term. This is a testament to your friendship and support for the Jewish state and the Jewish people. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House. And that's why the people of Israel have such enormous respect for you.
Now, to dig in further, I am joined by Harley Lippman, a political analyst and foreign policy expert. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu is the first foreign leader to visit the White House. What are your top-line thoughts of their meeting in the Oval Office and, of course, their press conference?
It's historic. It's remarkable. President Trump won by agreeing to meet with Bibi Netanyahu before any other foreign leader. Speaks volumes that he prioritizes a close American-Israel relationship. It's a tremendous testimony to the strength of that relationship. For Bibi Netanyahu, it's a huge boost for him because he's been pushed back to the fence by Israel not being prepared when they were attacked by Hamas terrorists on October 7th. And his ratings in the polls in Israel have been very low. He has boosted his stature. He appears stronger because he's representing Israel, which is being embraced by the United States. So that's the first observation you have by this unique and historic meeting. The second one, which is even more profound. No, go ahead.
Please finish.
No, I was just saying that the second image that comes to mind with this historic meeting is that Trump is coming up with a brilliant plan that sounds odd and crazy to some, but this is what visionaries do. This is what innovation is. This is what thinking out of the box is. You know, there are so many examples of this. When Winston Churchill said, we're going to stand up against Hitler and defeat Hitler, people thought it was a crazy idea, you know, but he was right and he prevailed. When Elon Musk says we're going to go into space, people laughed and thought it was a crazy idea, and he's now the richest man in the world. So initially, a lot of ideas that sound crazy could turn into reality if you have the determination and the will of the leader who's proposing this idea, and he has the resources to do it. So whatever may evolve out of this in the future, he is certainly coming up with something that is new and different, because everything else, as he put it correctly, has failed for the last 70 years.
Let's take a listen to what President Trump had.
Just a demolition site. Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region.
So now, Harley, do we know further about the legal and geopolitical implications of the U.S. taking over the Gaza Strip and what that might look like, or how that is rolled out?
It's very uncertain at this point, of course, but those are what I would call obstacles. It's like if you're an entrepreneur and you come up with a business plan and a strategy, there's going to be all kinds of obstacles and minefields. So to your question about legal or other challenges, I'm sure there will be monumental challenges. And like building a business, you could go 3 steps forward, 2 steps backwards, but then you go again another 3, 4 steps forward. That's evolution with ideas and with anything. And it's no different in the Gaza Strip. So there's going to be all kinds of problems and challenges. But what this really speaks to is innovation, is thinking out of the box, is coming up with an idea that's new. As President Trump pointed out, you can actually see in the last 100 years, there's been nothing but fighting. Nothing has worked. And on a practical basis, President Trump is quite wise in what he's saying. There's no running water there. There's no sewage. There's hardly any building erect. You can't live in Gaza. What are the people going to do? Everybody who feels for the Gazans, are they really thinking about the Palestinian people? How are they going to live? The fact that the United States, the wealthiest nation in the world, wants to take on this responsibility says so many things about President Trump and America that's unique and different and historic. Because one, a lot of people thought President Trump is an isolationist. Not here, that's for sure. He's getting the United States involved in a way America's never been involved before, which speaks to the importance of leadership of President Trump. Second, he's coming up with a solution, which nobody has had to come up with before. And third, this will protect Israel by taking the people out of the region who hate Israel and who hate Jews. Hamas has run Gaza, and their charter is very clear. It's only one thing. They want to destroy their neighbor. They want to destroy every Jew in Israel. And they make it very clear. And even recently, one of their leaders said, after the ceasefire is over, we're going to do it again, and even bigger than October 7th. So they're going to do it again. They've announced they'll do it again. It's arrogance to think we know better what they mean than their own words. So this speaks to addressing safety for the citizens of Israel, which is an important ally of the United States, and it speaks to uplifting the lives of the Palestinians. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's problematic. All great things are. And even though the Arab world is against it today, there are many things that can be done that can speak to that. It's a work in progress. There are huge challenges, but this is the first time in a very long time I've heard of such a innovative and meaningful solution for everyone in the region. Let's hope we can all work together and make it work.
And finally, how might this decision impact America's relationships with key allies in the Middle East and beyond?
Well, the Arab world is obviously very upset. They're against this idea. They think this is crazy. It doesn't work. The people in Gaza are the local indigenous population. They don't want to leave their land. Like, what are you doing here? So there's a very strong reaction in the Arab world against it. And here's what one could say to that. One, how did the people in Gaza get there? There was huge Arab migration from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Syria in the turn of the last century, 1920s, 1930s. Like there was huge immigration of Jews to the Holy Land, to Palestine, Israel, in the last century. Same thing. So when you talk about indigenous population, that's not really the case. They had moved there over 100 years ago from other nations. So they're going back to the land where their grandparents had originally come from. Second, I don't think that President Trump means they can't go back to Gaza, but Gaza just has to be rebuilt first. But if a taxi driver in Cairo wants to stay there, who originally came from Gaza, I don't think that's a bad thing, and nobody's going to force that person to come back to Gaza. So I think there's a lot of work in this, but the United States does provide, as President Trump says, a lot of aid and support to Arab nations, and they're looking now for the Arab world to take responsibility and own up and absorb people who speak the same language, are from the same culture, worship the same God, and there's ample land. And President Trump, with the help of wealthier Arab nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, will figure a solution that gives the Palestinians some dignity, a house, a livelihood, which they don't have in Gaza now, and they won't have for a very long time.
We'll surely be continuing to cover this story as it unfolds. Harley Lippman, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
This is Ticker. We'll be right back.